Welcome to The Modern Engineer, hosted by Syed Ishaat. This show goes beyond surface-level career advice, exploring how senior engineers and technical leaders build leverage, navigate complexity, and position themselves for long-term success.
Welcome to The Modern Engineer. I'm Syed Ishaat, and today I'm joined with Eamon Quinn. Eamon trains quality control technicians, and before we dive in, can you give a little context on what your role looks like today and what you're primarily responsible for, Eamon?
Yes. So recently I migrated to a new role at my company. I would like to just clarify from, I guess, our pre-coordination for this. I was in the process of training to be a QC technician at my company. So there is a lot of learning involved. I am not the one providing knowledge to newcomers. It's unique. Right now, I am the newcomer myself to this new role. And it's been exciting and a great learning experience so far.
Nice. Very cool. Very
Mhm.
cool. Bit of a typo at the beginning, but
Right,
now we
right,
know.
right.
So how did you start out your career, and what challenges did you face along the way?
Yes. So coming out of school, I went to Kennesaw State University's Southern Polytechnic College of Engineering, and just going to the career fair on my senior year, I came across a representative for the company I currently work at. I was taking resumes. We had a nice chat regarding just my experience with concrete, which up to that point in time had just been here and there some repair jobs for floors and high rises, cable barrier repairs in garages, and just some patio patches for residential. And they were interested, so gave a resume. And a couple weeks later, I'd heard back, and we began networking to take on employment as soon as I had graduated. And
Nice.
it's been 8 years now, going on nine, where I currently work. And I'd gone through some rotations at that company in order to learn, I guess I could say, our diverse offerings, and understand how do we, provide precast concrete to a customer. And, going through those roles and maybe understand how we generate value, which a company, that's what they want to provide to a customer, a client. And however that company delivers it, to learn it from basically zero on up, that's just was ingrained in me in that first year, and taught me a sincere appreciation for how we do things and how we strive to improve our processes.
Nice.
And yeah, that would
So
be a
going
summary.
through those, so going through those various roles at the beginning, those were kind of the big challenges at first, was transitioning between each different discipline.
Exactly. Yes, it causes a stepping out of a comfort zone with so many students coming out of college. They don't have that taste of the real world yet. And engineering, that's really where we shine our brightest, as we introduce real solutions to real world problems. In my field, it's a blend of structural and construction. So, and we're delivering high value projects to a client, it entails a lot of problem solving across multiple disciplines, including those that are not necessarily in our company, and coordinating with those people, sort of engineering on a personal, not a personal, but a professional stance, and communicating with those people to arrive at those solutions. That was the exciting part, and still is.
For sure, for sure. The collaboration, communication. So, what was the pivotal moment in your career trajectory that really elevated your career? For example, was it an assignment? Was it a project? Was it a presentation? What was the turning point in your career where it really went up?
I'd say it had been maybe 17 months in, I believe, and I'd received a request to fill in for another coworker who was working at job sites in the field. And I didn't know what exactly I was walking into, per se. I'd been working outside at field, or excuse me, at job sites, doing maybe you could say task work on a erecting crew, or say at our production plant, working on the ground there. And that's an intense environment where you gotta produce within that workday, 9 to 5 or sooner than. And I was used to that pace though. So basically, it was an opportunity to sort of stay fresh with keeping up with that kind of workflow. Because when I stepped into field work, it just felt natural to find a way to solve a problem, whether that was figure out a core drill or figure out where does this pipe need to line up in the ceiling in order so maybe Mr. Mechanical Installer can get his copper line ran from his device to its delivery point. And also, working with people outside of the company, communicating with them, learning how they go about their assignments, and building relationships. I thought that was probably the most enjoyable part. And to see it through to its end when that success finally manifests, when this project had been coordinated, collaborated on, produced over the course of maybe 2 to 3 years. It's a good feeling to see that fruit be born.
And you touched upon something very important, Eamon, and that is the field experience is so invaluable. Like, a lot of engineers, they stay cooped up doing design in the office, but they really don't know what they're in for until they're out in the field. Because being out in the field really does improve the design, in my opinion, at least. Wouldn't you say so?
Uh, I would say it is a strong perception that I think it's a good thing to observe that the office concentrated personnel, per se, they go on their field trips too. They get to see what's out there, and have that face to face interaction with the people that go out there to execute. And that's a nice thing to see. And also, I think on a moral level, for those engineers and technicians at the office side to see, all right, this is how it turns out. We've seen it on drawings, but to see it in real life, I think for everything that can be a gratifying feeling. But yeah, it's a healthy thing though to see that.
So after that pivot, your 17th month in, you took on that hard mission, that hard task. What changed after this pivot? What do you have more of? What do you have less of? For example, did you gain more recognition? Did your boss start calling you more? What changed after that pivot? Everybody in the company knew who Eamon really was now.
No, I mean I wouldn't put it maybe quite like that, but it was a great experience to be able to spread the wings per se and get out there and see some sights and just look at construction in Florida. Um, you know, and also abroad too, with going to sites outside of Florida. You get to meet people and see how they perform work and solve problems. And it's the great thing about engineers and engineering is that there's a problem out there and there's a way to solve it. And you go about it smartly, you go about it economically, efficiently, and however you arrive at it or collaborate with a team to arrive at it, that's like your baby. It's like, yep, we found a way. They said it couldn't be done, but we got it done. And that's the best part. And just going in to see those people you work with day to day for however long this gig lasts or that job lasts or this deployment, it's a sweet thing for the ride, however long it lasts.
So, how does someone listening achieve your level of success? Is it a lot of perseverance, grinding? Don't be afraid to ask questions. How does someone achieve your level of success?
It's a pretty powerful word to describe it, but I think it's a mindset, really. And I think that's with everyone. And it's a beautiful thing how everyone can go about it in their own unique way. And it boils down to their capacity and willingness to embrace challenge and change. The problems in the professional field, they never will stop appearing. But they can be perceived, I think they ought to be perceived as an opportunity for people to grow and to learn themselves. I mean, that growth is invaluable and it should never stop. We don't want to be stagnant, but it goes back to just a healthy way to approach your occupation.
It's like the cow versus bison theory. When a storm arrives,
Yeah.
aka a big challenge, someone can either be the cow and run away from the storm, just flee,
No kidding.
or someone can be a bison and just charge at the storm head first and get through it.
I like that. I'm going to have to look that one up. I like to, read some literature on maybe just, I guess, having a positive mindset, reinforcing that. So yeah, I'll look into that one.
Well, Eamon, it sounds like things are going really well for you, professionally. And often once people reach a certain level of success, they start thinking intentionally more about the future. Things like flexibility, optionality, or even passive income to complement what they're already doing. Have you considered any of these thoughts?
Well, it's definitely visible and audible, the information out there on what someone can do as far as those additional opportunities to grow. I don't look into them too much, but they do interest me. But for right now, just what I'm doing right now, it's gratifying to me because this is also new and fresh to me, and this is where I feel just very comfortable, and firmly resolved in dedicating my energy towards learning how to do this new job and to do my best at it. So I'll find ways that once I'm trained in this, how can I find ways to fine tune it in order that, for the deliverables I'm expected to provide, how do I do a better job at that?
Very good.
Yeah.
If someone listening is earlier in their career but on a similar path, um, what would you say is something you wish you understood sooner or earlier in your career?
Something I wish I understood sooner or earlier. I'd say, it goes back to perhaps their time in undergrad, and that would be to never stop looking for opportunities out there to get early exposure to your field you're studying in, or just technical work that you feel is going to be affecting your career path. Me, like, I wish maybe I got into it a little bit sooner. Any kind of engineering work, and I had that concrete work as just a small contributor, background wise, and it just set me on my path. But for those that are emerging into this, I'd say just embrace change ultimately.
Good. Very cool. Very cool. Well, Eamon Quinn, I really appreciate you sharing your perspective today. I think it's going to bring a lot of value to the audience and resonate well with them. And I'd like to thank everyone for listening to The Modern Engineer. I'll see you in the next episode.
Syed, thank you for having me on. Syed, thank you for having me on, and to the audience, listeners, young technicians and engineers, and professionals in general, or anyone in their field of work. Accept that challenge when it approaches and step up to the plate, because it is your time, your future, and you can do a heck of a great job of it with just the right mindset. And I know y'all will. So again, to Syed and his team of the Modern Engineering Podcast, thank y'all for your time and having me on. This was very fun, and I'm glad we could spend the time together. And again, just thank y'all for your time. Have a great one.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Modern Engineer with Syed Ishaat. If this episode resonated, make sure to subscribe and share it with others. And if you bring a unique perspective on leverage and long-term positioning, you can learn more about being considered for the show in the links below.